Morning and greetings from Northumberland on Sunday the 13th of March, second Sunday in Lent. We awake with thoughts of the people of Ukraine, and we pray for them as this day begins and as they move into their morning. In the Gospel today, Jesus weeps over Jerusalem, saying he longs to gather them, but says so often they reject the ways of God. In the news this morning, we have continued fears about Ukraine and about the suffering of women and children and old people. And from Saudi Arabia, there is the news of 81 people being executed in one day for crimes that are not entirely specific. God weeps over Jerusalem. God weeps over us. And we weep with impotence, sadness, and perhaps silent rage over what we see in our world. So what is the answer for us? Well, earlier this week we read about people changing their hearts and turning back to God and finding life and wholeness. And at the beginning of the week we read the story of the sheep and the goats, where Jesus divides the sheep and the goats, those who follow the way of love and those who don't. And judgment is sometimes something we are quite scared of. But actually, if we read that story of the sheep and the goats, or when I read it, I see that sometimes I'm in one camp and sometimes in another. Sometimes I'm moved to the most profound acts of generosity, and sometimes I'm selfish. And the truth is, of course, that we are all a mixture of the sheep and the goats. There are times when our generosity and our love is exemplary, and there are times when we can only hang our heads in shame at our action. But those words from Isaiah, which says, when we turn from our wickedness, we can find forgiveness and healing, are important for us. Because Lent is, amongst other things, a chance to look at ourselves, to think about the way we live, and to compare ourselves not to our neighbours but to God and what God calls of us. To do justice, to love mercy, to walk humbly with our God. May God enable us to turn from those things that bring death and sin in our lives to those things which bring life and hope and righteousness. May God bless us, may God bless Ukraine, may God bless Russia, and may God bless those people who live in fear of oppressive regimes wherever they are.